Hello, everyone. I'm adjusting a couple things and then we can get started. Let's put some stuff away. All right. I'm still figuring out like the ideal setup here, but I think we should be good. Okay. So we're using this pattern, which I printed out in black and white, but you can make it whatever colors you want by Sphynx Crochet. It's probably also going to be smaller than in the picture because the yarn I have is smaller, but I might come back and make a bigger cut leader one day. I just have a yarn that's kind of small and colors that I really like, which is these. I don't know exactly where this is from because my mom kindly donated this to me, but it did not have a label, so I don't know where that's from. These are from the same series though. I don't have the label in front of me right this second because I took it off when I started using it to make it easier to use. But if I find it, I'll put it in the description. There's three options for horns, which is you can give them ridges, you can give them bubbles, or you can make them normal. And like they aren't really called bubbly, they're called bumpy horns, but I like them because I think they look like bubbles, so I might do that. And just to be clear, we probably won't finish all of this today, but I really want to get started because I think this pattern is super cute. I'm also working on one off camera that's a butterfly dragon, and I found a pattern for a koi fish dragon, which are adorable. So I, by the way, I started making the butterfly dragon in red because I had red I really wanted to use, but I actually found some yarn in my stash that is the same orange as in the pattern photos. So I might use that too and make like a monarch butterfly dragon. Okay, so the main color is going to be blue, you know, like the ocean. And I have another ball of it because I've already used some of it. Hold on, let me check. Where did I put my scissors? Okay. I also need to get out a stitch marker. If I can't find one, I'll just use a safety pin. Ah, here's a piece to the butterfly dragon pattern. I'll put it away. 1 second. I'm gonna grab a safety pin. This yarn is very tangled, so it might take a minute to sort out. I started collecting my yarn when I was much younger, and I didn't know like to remember what brand it was or anything. So I don't know where all of the yarn I have now came from. But if I like still have the label to something, I'm gonna try and put it in the description from now on in case you guys want to use it too. Okay, so we're gonna start by making 8 single crochet in a magic ring. I'm using a 4.5 millimeter hook. I don't know what letter that is. I have a hard time remembering, but that's the size that goes with this yarn. Kind of want to come back and make this pattern in pink one day. I don't remember if I said this on stream before, but recently I found out about the glass octopus, and I think it's so cool because I knew there's like the glass frog, which is a frog where it has transparent skin so you can see like its organs. But now I learned there's an octopus. Octopuses are already like super smart and crazy and stuff, but apparently there's one that you can see through it, and that's just insanely cool to be like an alien. I'm gonna have to get my stuffing out later. I forgot to grab it before I sat down, but that shouldn't take long. Speaking of, while I was setting up today, my cats decided now was a good time to visit and start clawing at my crafting chair. They have two cat trees. They have one that's shaped like a palm tree and one that's not really a tree. It's like corrugated cardboard in fun shapes. And they still decided no, chair. They don't sleep in cat beds either. What we're doing in this round is increasing in every stitch, so we'll end up with 16 stitches. In the next round, we're going to increase in every other stitch so that we end up with 24. I'm going to need an extra stitch marker too, because I need to mark the middle of the face later, but I might just use a bit of yarn for that. This will probably be a series. We can come back to it for a while. I think this blue is called like ice blue, but it also reminds me of like the sky when it's really, really bright out on a summer day. So we think that works well for a kind of tropical water dragon. It looks like we're gonna give it little like barbels. Know those mustaches that some fish have? 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 8, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21, 24. Okay, good. Now we're going to increase in every fourth stitch, and we should end up with 30 stitches. Since this takes a little while, we might just finish the head today, but I'll see if we can do the ear fin thingies too. In the pattern photos, the eyes are like big and sparkly. Now I don't have those, but I do have some pretty big safety eyes. So I think those will look fine. They'll look like what kind of like on Hello Kitty or on a lot of stuffies that you get where the eyes are just like buttons. Unfortunately, I don't have backings for the safety eyes that are big enough because they're another craft supply I've had for a long, long time. So I'm not sure what I'm going to do about that, but I might just like tie them on. Something I've done in the past is just like wrap a bunch of yarn around the stick thingy of the safety eye and then like sew it into the head. And so far that's worked pretty well. I haven't had one come out. I'm sorry if you can hear my dad in the background. He's just walking by. I think I also want to reorganize my yarn because right now I have it just like in a basket, and that's to keep it neat. But that also means I can't see most of it and I forget what I have. So I think I'm gonna like stack it up in my closet, just like on a shelf, so that I can see everything. Hello, new people. I am very excited to see what this will look like once it's all put together, because I don't think it's a huge plushie, but because the yarn I'm using is smaller, I don't think it'll be tiny, but I think it'll look kind of different, and I'm hoping I can like squeeze it, you know? It's fun, like a hug. Okay, so now we'll be increasing in every fifth stitch. And I wasn't kidding when I said I've had this just around for a long time. It's kind of tangled, but it should be fine. A lot of yarn tangles are not as bad as they look. I have to put it through this loop here. Oh, okay. See, I told you they're usually not as bad as they look. We should end up with 36 stitches by the end of this. I usually see increases going in increments of 8. I didn't know you could do it in increments of 6. I'm really curious because bit rates are the same in video games, right? 8, 16, 32, 64. So why is that? Why 8? A lot of times when you first start increasing, this will look kind of ripply, but it should all smooth out once you've added enough stitches and you start just single crocheting around. If it keeps looking ripply after that, you might have added too many stitches, unless you're trying to make something look ripply, in which case you had too many on purpose. This yarn is super soft too, so I think it's really good for a plushie. I don't mean this in particular to be like a winter themed plushie, but I could totally use these colors to do that if I wanted to. Okay, let's count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 12, 15, 18, 21, 24, 27, 30, 33, 36. Okay, good. Now we're going to increase in every sixth stitch. Here's how it looks so far. One, two, three, four, five. Okay. Once we're done this row, we're going to do 4 rows of just normal single crochet, and then we're going to start decreasing. I haven't seen a ton of Sphynx cat crochets patterns, but they also made the butterfly dragon, I think, and the koi dragon. Like, I'm no, actually, I think the butterfly dragon is by Holly's Yarn Crochets, but Sphynx cat crochet makes a bunch of cute dragons, which I like. So I want to look through their patterns and see if there's other stuff I want to make. One, two, three, four, five. This hexagon shape looks a little like a snowflake because when you increase, it makes little points. Those go away once you start just single crocheting. I do really want to know why snowflakes make hexagon shapes, though. There must be like a scientific reason for it. I just don't know what it is. I'm looking for my pencil. Okay, now we have 42 stitches around, and I'm gonna single crochet all of them. Since this is the head, I think this is the top of the head, so I guess it's gonna be, like, that wide? You've heard of little shoulder dragons, right? Like a little bird that can sit on your shoulder? I think this will be about that size. They're so cute. I always wonder if that's, like, the full-grown size, what size are they as a baby? Is it like when a baby kangaroo is born, it's just like a little pink jelly bean, and it's, like, sweaty, and then it gets, like, covered in fur because it sits in its mom's pouch? The baby seahorse is about the size of a grain of rice. Assuming it's, like, a normal-sized seahorse that is, like, that big, because there are pygmy seahorses that are, like, this big, fully grown. I wonder if there are a lot of seahorse patterns. I always wonder how they form such a unique shape, too. I don't see a lot of animals with a tail that, like, naturally curls, and that's when it's in a resting state because it's prehensile. They have an exoskeleton, and they swim around with just one tiny fin on their backs, and I wonder if they're from, like, a branch of evolution that just didn't go that far. I have tons of this yarn, just plain white, which I actually don't use very often, but I'm trying to use it all up. So I might make like, I don't know, like a snow dragon or something. Did you know, by the way, you need 500 subscribers and a couple of other things to get monetized on YouTube? I didn't until recently. So, you know, like I want this to be my job eventually. I love making crafts, I love doing art, things like that. So if you know somebody who really likes painting, crocheting, sewing, I do a little bit of everything, maybe send this to them. Okay, that's number one of the single crochet rows. I think if I did the bumpy horns, that would also look kind of like barnacles, and that makes sense for the ocean. Another thing I think about with those shoulder dragons is they remind me a little bit of like a monkey that sits on your shoulder and like clings. So it'll probably also look a little bubbly while you're increasing, but that should smooth out once you're done. This said that I would need like 1 to 2 skeins of the main color, which is another reason why I chose this blue. I have 1 complete skein of it, and however much is in what I have right now, I don't know how much it is. This says to start stuffing when we're about 2/3 through. It's gonna have really wide cheeks. It looks a little like a frog because it's got like a really wide face and big eyes, but I think that's cute. In yarn, a skein is the same thing as like a ball of yarn, right? I think it is. If it's not, I'm in trouble. Did you ever see the spider crab? I've heard they can get to be like their leg span is like 10 feet wide, and I'm not sure if that's just like them normal or if it's their legs like spread out like this, but either way, they're really big. I've only seen them in pictures, but I kind of want to see one in person one day. I'm also kind of curious about what they taste like. Like, I've tried crustacean in the past and I haven't really enjoyed it, but spider crabs are scary, so it could be interesting to just like see what they're like. I mean, they don't really scare me. I've heard they scare a lot of people, but I don't know, maybe it's my nerd brain. I'm just like, wow, they're so big. They're so unique. I wonder if I could make a few of these and have them be like a family. That could be cute. I also have a yellow yarn that I really like, and I want to do something with it, but I have no idea what yet. I have another shade of blue. It's a little darker than this. It's more like a powder blue. And I didn't want to use it for this project, but I do want to use it for something. I just have to figure out what. The pink yarn I have, I want to use I have it just in case, like if there's like tiny decorations I can make. Okay, the round after this is where we're going to place a stitch marker to mark the middle of the face. And there I think we're probably going to make the nose later. We are going to use it to space the eyes. What what a strange ball of yarn. Hold on. Okay. This yarn is a little stretchy, so I could like stuff it a lot and make it really firm, but I also like when it's more snuggly. Second, my mom is texting me and I need to gently inform her that I am live. I don't know if my microphone is picking up all the background noise, but just in case, I'm letting her know. The head looks a little bigger than I expected, but I think this is going to be like its widest point. Although actually, we're going to increase more later, so we might be. I think this is like the forehead, and then we're going to make the cheeks. Okay, it says later you can add French knots for the nostrils if you want. That's what I thought were barbels. Oops. I'm not sure if I'll do that, but it could be cute. don't know how many people have notifications turned on, by the way, but I would recommend that because they don't have like it's not like I always stream on Monday, for example, but I'm generally live 2 to 4 days a week. So it's important to keep up with like what those days are going to be. Okay, I'm going to clip off a little piece of this to use as an extra stitch marker. Now we will start with 11 single crochet. One, two, three, four. Now we're going to do 3 stitches, and in each of those 3 stitches, we're going to do 2 half double crochet. So HDC increase times 3. I think this is going to be the cheeks because this many increases in a small space that makes kind of like a bump. Okay, now we're going to do 4 single crochet. Next, I think we're going to make a nose. We're going to HDC increase times 3 again. All right, we're going to do that again. And we're going to place our extra stitch marker in the first of this set of half double crochet. I've been learning how to sand stuff recently, which is fun. Not like anything huge, but like little sculptures and like dolls for doll customizing. It's fun. I didn't realize how big of a difference it could make. Okay, now we're gonna 4 single crochet again. Okay, we're going to HDC increase times 3 again. All right, now we're going to finish this row with another 11 single crochet. And we should end up with 54 stitches. Okay, so this is how it looks. I think this is going to be the nose, and these are the cheeks. Next round is going to be just single crochet. Then we're going to start some decreases. It's really cool to see how all the stitches connect. Like, if you showed this to me, I probably would go, "Oh, those are 2 different stitches," at least unless I was, like, looking at it way up close. I just go, "Wow, fabric." I think I should pull this stitch marker through for a minute. Hold on. Hold on. Okay, 54, good. Okay. I cannot wait to see how this will look when it's all done. I think if I checked and we don't really need to sew anything right here in the middle of the nose. It's just showing what the middle of the nose is so that we can space the eyes, so I'm not worrying about it. Next round, we're gonna decrease after every 7 stitches, and we should end up with 48 at the end. Now it's time for the first decrease. One, two, three, four, five, six, seven. Row after this, we're gonna decrease every 2 stitches, so stitch, stitch, decrease, and that's a pretty drastic difference, but the reason for that, I think, is we're starting to make the bottom of the head, like the chin, and that's kind of flat. It's not, like, gently sloping like the forehead. Although I might call this a 5 head, it's got a pretty big head, like a baby, for cuteness factor. 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay. 5, 6, 7. If you're new here, we're making Kailani the Water Dragon, which is a pattern by Sphynx Crochet. It looks super cute, and I cannot wait for this to be finished. And one day I want to get like a really big chunky yarn and make this in that. I want to know where people come up with the names for their patterns because I don't think everyone gives them like a personal name. Sometimes it's just like describing what the pattern is, like butterfly dragon or koi dragon. But what if you want to give them all human names? It is a useful way to tell them all apart, kind of like how models of a car have different names. We're gonna put the eyes in a couple of rows. All right, now we're gonna decrease in after every 2 stitches. 1, 2, we're also gonna start adding the stuffing. I have something I need to do at 7 p.m., so we might not finish the whole head, but I wanna try. See? It kind of looks like a hat right now. It is not, although I could make a little hat for this pattern, I guess. Something else nice about this yarn is it knits up nice and tight. And this isn't knitting, but you get the idea. Okay, now we're gonna add the eyes. This is the biggest size I have. So they need to go between rounds 9 and 10, 4 to 6 stitches apart, depending on the size of the eyes used. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So that's above where this is, but it shouldn't be a problem because it's just marking the middle. I'll put one here for now, and the other one equidistant from it. Hmm, those are way too close together. Eyes look cuter when they're farther apart. I might also put them farther down because that tends to look cuter too. I'm looking at it from my perspective. I'm trying to guess, like, how much chin is there going to be? Because that will help determine how far down we should put them. Okay, I think that should be good. Now we're gonna start stuffing, and we're gonna, well, I have to sew them in, but I might not sew them so that I can still adjust them until I'm done. And I have to close up the head and stuff because I want to see, are they going to look good in this placement? Right, gonna grab my stuffing. It's not like super far away, the thing I need to do. So I think we should stop at 6:30 or 6:45. Okay. So now we're going to decrease after every 4 stitches. And at the end of this row, we should have 36 again. When I stuff this, I need also to make sure that I stuff the cheeks and the nose nice and round. That's something the pattern points out, so it's a good reminder. This color also reminds me a little bit of blue cotton candy. The stuffing will obviously stay in more once I make this hole smaller. Next row, we're gonna decrease after every 3 stitches. And at the end, we should have 24 around. I kind of want to move the eyes down again. Hold on. Gonna move these down again. I think that looks better. I'll just move again if I need to. I think I should sew the eyes in once I'm done this row. Okay. If I can find the other end of this, I would use that, but I might have to get out my other yarn real quick. I'm also going to get out my big needle. Basically, what I do if I don't have backings big enough for my safety eyes is I like wrap a bunch of yarn around them and I like sew it into the stitches. and make a knot too sometimes. I don't think you can see this too well on camera, but it's also not like the best way to do this. It's just what I'm doing right now. I'm effectively making my own backing out of yarn. S- Trying not to stretch the stitches out too much. I have a bad habit of that, but I do want to make this nice and secure. Okay, I'm going to do the next eye next. Okay, that's that eye. I'm going to need to redo some of this last row. I'm tying in knots so this doesn't go between the stitches too. Basically, what I do after I wrap all this is I start going over and under it and making knots to hold it in place, because otherwise it'll just like spiral off. All right, gonna tie it off here, and we're gonna stuff it some more. We'll obviously stuff this all the way once we're actually done, but I wanna I wanna get started so that I can get a better idea of what it'll look like. Making sure to get the cheeks nice and round. Okay, next we're gonna decrease after every 2 stitches. Something I'm working on right now is painting some sculptures I made a while back, and I'm painting them with acrylic paints. They're getting very streaky, and I don't think that is always bad, like that's a feature of acrylic paint, but I would like them to look more smooth. And I think something doll customizers do when they're painting a doll with acrylics is water it down, so I might try that. If you're enjoying this, make sure to leave a like, by the way, because I am still in algo jail and I need some help getting out. Not even because of any one specific thing, I'm just finding my footing. Once I tried to add like fabric glue to my improvised way of putting in safety eyes, it did not work. And maybe that's because this is yarn, so it's not technically fabric, but I wonder what else people do. Because I see people claim that they make faces on their plushies by cutting stuff out of felt and then gluing it on. And I'm like, what glue works on yarn? So far, all the glues I've tried have not worked. Okay, now we're just going to decrease every other stitch. After that, we're going to decrease every stitch and sew this up, and then we should be done. Well, not the whole project, obviously, but we'll be done the head. All right, we gotta stuff this more too. At the end of this row, we should have 12 stitches. Okay, let's add a bit more stuffing. I'm trying not to like overstuff this, but I also want to make the shape clear. Look, you can see its round little cheeks. Okay. Now we're just gonna decrease all around. When we're done here, we should have 6 stitches around, and then we can just sew it closed as soon as I find my needle. There it is. One, two, three, four, five, six, seven, eight. Need to stuff this cheek a little more. Okay. I'm weaving the tail through the stitches from the last row and just pulling it tight. Then I make a knot. Okay. Then I bury the end. Clip it off. And we should be done. I'm leaving this here to see if I want to add the nostrils another time. But this is it today. So thanks for watching, and I will see you next time.